Let me ask you this. So the book gets published fall of 2020. Obviously, we've had COVID and whatever each individual's unique experiences have been there. I guess a two-part question. Has the book and the response to the book exceeded your expectations? The feedback you've gotten, I've started to follow you a little bit more on social media. It seems as though the book is getting out there wider and wider, which is phenomenal for you. Curious if the book has exceeded your expectations, and then feels like to me, as somebody that's read a decent amount of what you've put out there, would you have put a chapter out about COVID if you were publishing the book, say this fall instead of last fall?
Yeah, good questions. It's definitely exceeded my expectations. Every author, no matter what their previous success may or may not be, you have to know that every book is like a seed stage startup, in the sense that even if you do everything right, your odds of it working really well are very low. Right. The percentage of books that sell more than a couple thousand copies is extremely low. And a lot of the books that don't sell are great books. So I went into this publishing the book with pretty managed expectations, low expectations maybe, and I've been pleasantly surprised since then, which is great. Would I include anything about COVID? I stopped writing the book. I finished writing it in January of 2020. So just as COVID was getting going is when I stopped writing it. And the publisher said, do you want to include, because we had a long gap between when I stopped writing it and when it was on the shelves. So we had time to include a chapter on COVID. And I said no, because I wanted the book. I mean, the word timeless is right in the title of the book. And I wanted it to be something a book that would be relevant 50 years from now, and things that were true about finance that were true 50 years ago. I want these to really be timeless. So I didn't want it to be newsy in any sense. But there is quite a bit in the book that I think is really relevant to COVID. I mean, one of the main ideas from the book is that progress happens really slowly, but setbacks happen very fast. So compounding new technologies, new medical technologies, et cetera, can take decades before we really benefit from them. But setbacks happen overnight. September 11th, Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt, COVID-19, these things happen so fast that it's hard to look away from them. And this I think is like a cause for pessimism over time, or this is an explanation of why people tend to be pessimistic, is because the good news happens so slow that it's easy to ignore. But the bad news happens so fast that you can't look away. And COVID is a really good example of that. One other thing is that there's a point in the book that the biggest risk is always what you don't see coming. It's always what no one is talking about. It's not the stuff that's in the news and the economists are saying, oh, get prepared for this over the next year. Those things don't tend to be the big risk. The big risk are the things that come out of the blue that no one is talking about, whether that was September 11th again, or COVID-19, Pearl Harbor, the things that move the needle historically, that we look back and say that mattered more than anything, is always the stuff that no one is talking about. So when I wrote that, I didn't know a viral pandemic was just starting to brew that was going to throw the world upside down. But that's kind of always the case. And that's a good lesson going forward too, is that we think that we know something about the world now that we're much more attuned to pandemics. And that's true. We're more cognizant of that risk today than we were 14 months ago. But the big lesson from COVID is that there are things in the world that no one is talking about, that you're not talking about, I'm not talking about, that will have a massive impact on our life. And that will be true going forward as well.